Please welcome AWE CEO and co-founder, Ori Inbar.
Give it up to the amazing team from Snap Spectacles, David and Matthias, for drawing with me in AR. That's very cool. Now, before we start, I want to do one more thing. Let's check that I have my rainbow color. Yep, I got it. All right. Always wanted to draw AWE spatially, so let's see if I can make it happen. All right, that's pretty cool. Add an exclamation mark. That's cool. Awesome. Thank you, Cole. Welcome to AWE Europe 2024, everybody. Thank you all for joining us in beautiful Vienna. I appreciate you all very, very much. You know, I started my career in XR right here in Vienna, so it has an extra special place in my heart. Vienna also has one of the most exciting local communities in XR. XR Vienna, where are you guys? All right, thank you for everything you're doing here. You know, this is a very special year. AWE is celebrating 15 years, and the XR industry is also celebrating 15 years. Congratulations to you all for bringing the industry to where it is today. You know, last year, I stood on the AWE stage in a box. Well, actually, an AI version of me stood in that box and delivered what seemed to be a perfect opening speech, as perfect as you can expect from ChatGPT. So I had to come on stage and protest, and I guess it worked. I got my job back. I'm still here. But you know, I'm a different man today. I like it now. I learned to stop worrying and love AI. We work really well together. Do I always trust it? Well, just like you would trust anyone with hallucinations. I mean, if we let AI run by itself, it could be pretty risky. Many are working on giving robots vision and spatial intelligence, and doomers say it could lead to the destruction of humanity. But if we all focus our efforts on giving humans AI by way of XR and keep humans at the center, would make AI more useful and less risky. So my new slogan is, AI love XR. And if you think about them as a couple, I think you would agree that XR is AI's better half. It's a little more human, right? So if we focus our efforts on combining these two very tightly together, we'd keep humans in control, we'd keep us human. And if you're scratching your head, what the hell does that mean? You came to the right place, because right here at AWE this week, you can already see this power couple in action, bringing these two nicely together, putting humans in the center. So yeah, we're all here, united by our passion for XR, in a very special year for our industry. 2023 was kind of a difficult year. In my opening last year, I literally said, XR is hard. But you know, when 2024 started, I had a good feeling about it. And I think many of you did as well, right? Mostly, okay. That is with one exception. Bob Stone, XR pioneer from the UK since 1987 and an XR Hall of Famer, protested with his trademark rolling eyes emoji Every bloody year is a breakthrough year for XR. And you know what? He's right. But I can't help it. And I think we all can't help it when we see the progress, the amazing things that are happening in the industry. We can't stop raving about it. So, you know what? Let's rave some more about it, okay? Here's the state of XR in 2024. Big tech is in a tight race to lead the market, and it's rearranging. Each player is pushing each other to refocus on their strength. But you know what? This slide doesn't really do a great job at conveying the intensity in this race. Hey, Chatty, can you show me an XR race in action? There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your hats because we're off to the races.
What's that?
Apple rockets out of the gate with a bold move. They launch the Vision Pro and boom! They're setting a brand new standard for mixed reality. The fans are on their feet, and it looks like Apple's got an early lead in this fast-paced XR showdown. But look out, here comes Meta, the reigning champion. They aren't about to sit back and let Apple run away with this one. Meta teases us with details of their upcoming Quest 3 headset, and the crowd goes wild. Apple's Vision Pro hits the track, sparking a frenzy among developers, but Meta's hot on their heels. This race is just getting started. But hang on, X-Real's making their move, bursting onto the scene with the X-Real Air Ultra 2. They're in this race to win. Wait a minute, Snap has just entered the race with a brand new version of Spectacles, adding yet another thrilling twist to this high-stakes showdown. And here comes Meta again. They're pulling out all the stops. Meta storms back, launching the Quest 3S, which is officially the most affordable mixed reality headset on the track. And wait, there's more! Meta has just thrown down the gauntlet with a prototype of their Orion AR glasses. They're pulling ahead, ladies and gents, and Apple's in the rear-view mirror. Could Meta be pushing Apple to rethink their play? Meanwhile, Sony's joining the party with a big swing toward the productivity crowd. They've got a new spatial mixed reality headset lined up, set to launch at year's end. But the race isn't slowing down, folks. HTC and Pico are stepping up. They're a little behind, but they're making up ground, pushing the limits with advanced mixed reality features. And what's this? Samsung is still stretching and warming up. They're cooking up something big with Qualcomm and Google, waiting for the perfect moment to jump into the action. They may be keeping a low profile, but don't count them out. When they enter the race, they'll bring the heat. It's a nail-biter as we approach the final lap. Meta holds the lead. Apple's breathing down their neck, and HTC and Pico are neck and neck in the midfield. Sony's making their move, aiming for a late-game splash. Who's going to pull out the big win? In the fast-paced world of XR, it's anyone's game, folks. Buckle up. It's going to be a photo finish.
Woo! Can you feel the intensity? Well, if that's not enough intensity for you, let's look at some of the staggering industry milestones from this year. According to AWE's home analyst, Artillery Intelligence, XR is on track to reach $25 billion this year. It's becoming a huge industry, and it's growing fast. After AI, it's the fastest growing tech sector. And when you look at the regional market split, Europe is a little behind America, but it certainly does not reflect the true potential of the European market. The XR market in Europe must and will be as big as America, and I'm counting on you guys to make it happen, all right? When it comes to adoption, AR penetration is still hovering around 30% of the population, but active usage is on the rise. Snap, for example, reported 10% year-over-year growth in active users, mostly thanks to, you guessed it, its combination of AI and XR lenses. AI loves XR, I told you. And when it comes to VR adoption, it's also growing, especially where it matters. 1 in 4 teenagers in the US plays VR. Young people get it. Their parents not always, but these teenagers will play VR their whole lives. And almost every single enterprise Fortune 1000 company has adopted XR. Here's the great list of enterprises here at AWE this week. And when you talk to them this week, you'll notice that enterprise adoption has leveled up. Most businesses are beyond that stage of, what is this thing good for? And they're looking for ways to scale it up to the entire organization. And this translates into dollars. Enterprise revenue is now over 70% of the entire XR market. And is it me, or is it eating the consumer market for lunch? You didn't get it. That's okay. Investments in startups are picking up again after a downturn in 2023. Andreessen Horowitz, probably the most influential VC in the world, is bullish on XR. They said, "We believe AR/VR is among the most underrated markets today." Yeah, that's true. And why? Because it pays. On the Quest Store, more than 40 developers made over $10 million. And that's with very small teams and almost no funding. And for that reason, many iOS and Android developers are shifting to spatial. By one estimate, there are over 2 million XR developers in the world. But you know what? I would take it with a huge grain of salt, because that source is, you know who, Mr. Hallucinations. To recap the state of XR in 2024, it's a $25 billion market with exponential growth. Big tech are in a tight race to lead. Adoption is growing where it matters. And investors proclaim the time is now. So here's your money shot. Are you getting it? So yeah, it's a big year for XR. Great job, everybody. Give yourself a big round of applause. You deserve it. You are very spatial. But you know, it wasn't easy. It wasn't an overnight success. It started a long time ago with this man. Don't laugh. This is Hugo Gernsback, the father of science fiction. Yeah, from the Hugo Awards. And this is an actual invention of his from 1963. Seriously, though, how did it all start? This is our mission for you this year at AWE. Learn from XR's history to create the future. If we want spatial computing to one day replace 2D computing, we all have to become history buffs. So, let me take you back in time. Didi, can we focus on my face? This is how I looked in 1968. Thanks, Snap, for the cute filter. It was a year of cultural revolutions, protests, space exploration. But the biggest news of the year in America was Star Trek shows the first interracial kiss on American television. Also, the first working demo of a head-mounted display, created by the founding figure of spatial computing, Ivan Sutherland. For me, he captured the essence of spatial computing. And it's very simple. Let me quote Sutherland. The image of an object changes in the same way the real object changes with similar motions of the head. In other words, computing imitates real life. That's a cool concept that I would bet my career on, and I think many of you did as well. Why? Because humans are biologically spatial, and so should computing. However, in 1968, there was a fork in the road. That same year, the mother of all demos was presented, with the first mouse, a keyboard, and a 2D screen. And history decided that 2D computing would be the mainstream. But here's a thought. What would the world look like if in 1968, history had decided to go with spatial computing instead? Where would we be today? Well, a few super smart and extremely tenacious men and women did not wait for this miracle. They worked their butts off, mostly outside of the limelight, to advance XR technology. They were way ahead of their time. So, in 2024, we decided it's finally time to recognize them. We created the XR Hall of Fame and inducted the first 101 pioneers. Give them all a big round of applause for all their work. But in fact, almost everyone in this room is a pioneer and stands to be inducted to the Hall of Fame in the coming years. So please, please keep doing what you're doing. We created, at the US event, the grandfather of VR, Tom Furness, got his star on the XR Hall of Fame. And he was obligated to walk around with this Hall of Fame laurel at all times. In the 80s, when Tom was working on the super cockpit for the Air Force, he created this beautiful thing, also known as the Darth Vader helmet. Tom is now 80 years young and has big plans. His new project with the Virtual World Society is to build the super cockpit for the mind. He gave a great talk about it in the US event, so look it up on our YouTube channel. Palmer Luckey was also there with his trademark Hawaiian shirt. Here's what he had to say to you.
Looking back at one of the early experiences I had building head-mounted displays, and it was the fact that for years the prototypes that I was making were things that I was excited about, but whenever I would show them to ordinary people, they wouldn't be excited, and they didn't quite get it, and they thought that I was wasting my time. And I feel like the technology is at the point where even if people aren't necessarily coming back to use it every day yet, even if people are not buying it by the hundreds of millions yet, almost anybody you put into a modern device and show them the type of content that you have at this conference, on the game platform stores, being made by students everywhere, people can see it and say, oh, I understand this. I understand it's going somewhere. And that's a really big turning point for the industry that has happened over the last few years. And I'd say most of the things that I've seen here today, they're not things that would only convince a true believer. They're things that would convince a lot of people out there in the normal world. And that's something we should all be really excited about.
Yeah. We owe this group of pioneers an immense debt. They laid the foundation for the XR industry, and we all stand on the shoulders of these giants. And like I said, if we want one day for spatial computing to replace 2D computing, we all have to become history buffs. I urge you all to dig into the list of 101 pioneers in this Hall of Fame on this sweet URL. Watch the Benny history talks that are now on our YouTube channel. There's such rich history to learn from. And by the way, if you see a pioneer missing from that list, it's not lost. Please nominate them on this same page. So back in June, we celebrated the best of the best in XR during the Augie Awards. These champions went home with the really cool Augie trophy. And here at AWE Europe, we'll give out 3 more Augie Awards for the Best in Show winners here in Vienna. So don't miss it during the wrap-up tomorrow at 4:30. In the meantime, you want to check out some highlights of the XR industry from the past 15 years? Yeah? All right, if you asked for it. So let's travel back in time to 2010. Didi, can we focus on my face? This says, no, you went too far back into the 90s. Let's go forward, a bit forward. No, you went too much into the future. No, yikes, go back. All right, I guess that will do. Oh, that's pretty cool. So what's the biggest thing in 2010? The Minions. Also, AR is becoming a thing. AR webcam campaigns become popular in magazines. Kinect gets kids off the couch. Google Goggles is launched with visual search. And the first AR browser, Wikitude, is super hot. And Vuforia is launched, both created here in Austria. And the original teams are here this week. Give it up for Philip and Andy, Michael Ishti, and Daniel Wagner. Come on, take a bow. So yeah, the XR industry is born, and the first AWE takes place to celebrate the newborn. All right, let's jump ahead to 2013, where the word of the year is Selfie. Also, things are heating up in XR. Google launches both Glass and Tango with a big splash, making augmented reality a household term. Well, not for long, but many people forget that there were dozens of smart glasses on the market at that time. Also, VR is reborn. Oculus Rift Kickstarter is shipping, and AR, VR are united at AWE. It's big time for XR. Now, some VR veterans were skeptic. They had a déjà vu of the 90s, you know? Is anyone here still afraid of a 90s style crash for XR? Anyone? Okay, not too many. You know, that same year, I go on stage with a simple chart. Intuitive to many, but also controversial to others. We are headed to the inevitable inflection point where more XR headsets are sold than smartphones. How about you all? Do you believe we're headed to that inflection point, that it's inevitable? If so, make some noise. But does anyone dare to say when? Well, in that same presentation, I was foolish enough to attempt that prediction, and that was a complete screw-up. 1 billion shipments by 2023? I missed the mark by a mile, but I learned my lesson. Sometimes it's better to just, shut up, especially when it comes to when smart glasses will go mainstream. Although, this year is a very promising year for AR glasses. A hot new report by Artillery Intelligence is showing a crazy jump between 2023 and 2024. I'm not making this up. This is a legit report. All right, back to our storyline. Where were we? Okay, 2013. By 2015, the Oculus acquisition by Facebook, we enter the .VR era. VR goes crazy with thousands of new startups. No, not that. No, that's NASA from the 90s. Yes, that's the so-called Oculus killer from 2015. Anyway, moving forward, 2016 and 2017 are exciting years for AR. Pokemon Go, HoloLens, ARKit, AR Core, the AR Cloud, it's all happening. Man, there's so much more to talk about, to dig into. We all need to spend more time learning our history. But there was one more thing I wanted to mention. In 2019, your humble friend here had an idea, the spatial Wikipedia. Millions of people contribute not through text, but visually, capturing the collective human knowledge about every place, object, and person. And this global visual intelligence is accessible to anyone, anywhere, not by typing or a prompt, but with a simple glance. It's the world's spatial knowledge for everyone. Now, back in 2019, we were missing two things to make this happen. One, the AR cloud, for a persistent overlay of all the information on the real world, which I think we pretty much have right now. And the second thing was something that can ingest lots of visual information and make sense of it. Are you guys aware of anything that could do that these days? Can we build this thing? Well, I think now we can look at this paper by Hall of Famer Mark Billinghurst and his students at the Empathic Lab. And they gave it a stab. Their latest paper, Time Traveler, demonstrates the first step towards this spatial Wikipedia. On the left, an expert records a task and how to perform it. And on the right, a newbie performs the task by following a real-time XR overlay. That's cool. So now what if 1,000 experts, or maybe 1 million experts, record how they perform different tasks in XR? And then AI crunches the data and learns how to follow you while you do this and provide you real-time instructions for anything, anywhere. With the newlywed AI and XR, we have the technology. We can build the spatial Wikipedia, And I'm counting on you guys. All right, so yeah, 2019 is a year of big promise. But it also comes with a big warning sign about privacy and ethics. And there's nothing that conveys this better than that photo I used to show from 2019, since then pretty much every year. When everything we do is captured and analyzed on camera, privacy becomes an even bigger concern that must never, ever be underestimated. Remember that face? Of course, by now he changed his look and has a new company name, a new vision, super hot AR glasses. And how about these curls? I'm sure I saw it somewhere. Oh, yeah, now I remember. Okay, so now it's time to land back in the present. A great year for XR, a year where we look back to learn and celebrate the rich history of XR. A year when every single one of you is a pioneer in the making. So I want to thank you all for being on this journey with us over 15 years of AWE, 15 years of advancing the XR industry. Thank you once again. This is probably the biggest year for AWE in the US, and I'm sure it's going to be the best yet here also in Europe. So put your hands together for 140 speakers that cover the most important topics here in Europe. And thanks to our partners who energize the XR community and spread the word. Thank you, partners. And big thanks to our exhibitors from all around the world that are showcasing hundreds of XR and spatial use cases on the expo floor and the playground. Thank you, exhibitors. And above all, thanks to our fantastic sponsors. You make this event happen. Big round of applause for our sponsors. Before I let you go, I want to thank the awesome team. Our program maestro, Sonia, marketing wizards, Jetta and Goopy, our expo masters, Nate and Brian, launching the new AWE Plus XR connection service, Sam, rallying the press, Ethan and Mr. Fox, and the legendary ops team, Megan, Maria, Antigone, Patty, Cole, and the one and only Andrea. Thank you, team. They worked days and nights to craft the perfect experience for you, so we can all say with confidence, you'll feel spatial, we promise. Thank you all for joining us, and have a wonderful show.